A.C.B.A.
Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. Boog, nice, coming at you with another daily update. So just wanted to discuss this upcoming Ch'od Build-A-Figure, the first X-Men wave of 2023. On Monday, we saw the full reveal for Ch'od. We had already seen all of the individual figures for this wave right before 2023 during the last live stream of 2022. And then Tuesday, the pre-order for the full wave went up. And today, I just want to talk about this a bit more in depth. So as I mentioned yesterday, 7 figures in the wave. You'll need 6 of the 7 figures to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure. As it stands right now, these figures went up for $25.99 USD, which is the new US price for single carded figures in a Build-A-Figure wave for the most part. We are up over $5 per figure in about a year's time, basically. Hasbro seems to be cutting costs and cutting corners and trying to figure out how to give us as much as possible, or maybe not, in a Build-A-Figure wave for this new price point. And I just want to dissect this a bit and see where we are in terms of accessories and if we are actually getting a bang for our buck here. So first up is Fang. This was an easy reuse of parts. I'm a little concerned about how long it may take to actually get a complete core grouping of the Imperial Guard, but he is an Imperial Guard member. He's going to be packed in with the head to complete Ch'od and Ch'od's little furry friend. He has 2 sets of interchangeable hands, and that's pretty much it. You know how I'm always advocating for heads and hands. Unfortunately, you'll only have the dynamic, sort of angry, snarling look for this head sculpt, and I don't see us getting another Fang anywhere in the near future, so the display possibilities are limited. But being as though this is a character we have never received in figure form, I'm with it. One more set of interchangeable hands or one more additional head would have really made this a complete and semi-robust pack, but he is a must-own if you want to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure. Going to be difficult to get any additional hands based on previous figures that have already been released, being that he has these sort of brown hands, brown furry hands. I'm not sure how detailed the fur is on these hands, but we'll have to wait and see. Up next, Astonishing X-Men Emma Frost. This is a must-own for me personally from the wave. She's packed in with the right leg to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure, a couple of interchangeable hands. Now, I've seen quite a few people making remarks about how this is not much of an upgrade from the old Hasbro, what was that, maybe the Blob Build-A-Figure wave Emma Frost, or was it Annihilus? I think it was Annihilus if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing this off the top of the head, and you are out of your gourd if you think that this is not a complete upgrade. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is the best Emma Frost offering that we've ever had, but in terms of the artwork for Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men, I think they really nailed her look in terms of this head sculpt. Now, you will be able to hopefully swap out additional heads with some of the past Emma Frost figures that we've received. I'm not happy about the platform heels, probably going to be difficult to stand her, and I'm not happy with the plastic cloak here. They could have really stepped up and given us a soft goods cloak. Had they done that, this would be a more complete pack-in and easier to swallow. Pause. But in terms of them ultimately and inevitably rounding out the Astonishing X-Men crew, she's going to look great alongside the rest of the team members, I'm sure. And if you weren't collecting during those days when that Annihilus Build-A-Figure wave came out, you don't know what you're talking about. Those figures were terrible. The old figure is probably one of the worst Marvel Legends that we've ever received in history. Now, would I like to see pinless joints, double jointed elbows, an ab crunch, a new, very well thought out and well put together female buck? Of course. One thing that the old version did have was that variant of her diamond form. Wouldn't it be great if they had a variant in this wave with her in her diamond form? You know, the whole diamond form thing was something that was introduced in the new X-Men run as a secondary mutation. That whole idea of the secondary mutations is something that I think was slept on, but something that was carried over into Joss Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men. But maybe at some point they will give us a diamond formed Emma Frost. Again, this is one that you have to pick up if you want to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure. Up next is Monet, our very first Monet in the life of the Marvel Legends line. Kind of threw me for a loop here. I didn't expect them to do Monet in her Generation X getup. I thought we'd get a more modern version of her, maybe when she was running around with X Factor. But here we are starting another team. Definitely concerned about how long it may take to complete this team, but Marvel Legends has been putting out a lot of box sets, so it's a good possibility that they may knock out several members of this team in one box set. She She's packed in with the left leg to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure, a couple of interchangeable hands. The hands here are not really a big issue. I think we can probably find other hands from past figures to swap for more expressions here. It's the head. It's the lack of an additional head sculpt and hair sculpt. You know, something more dynamic here would have been a great addition. Probably going to be hard to move the head left and right and make it look good, but you know, it is a neutral look. I think 9 times out of 10, I prefer a neutral look if you're only going to get one head sculpt, I guess depending on the character. But again, not a lot packed in. Couple of interchangeable hands and just a Build-A-Figure part for $25.99. This is kind of lackluster or minimal at best. But the figure actually looks good. Again, just concerned about how long it may take to complete this team. Then we've got Kid Omega, our very first Kid Omega in the life of the Marvel Legends line. I had mentioned when we first saw him that I was a little disappointed that they went with this look. It's a more modern look. He's packed in with the torso to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure. He's got a couple of interchangeable hands and a weapon. The sort of half-gloved hands here is something that we don't see too often. So very unique to this figure for the most part. There are a couple of other characters, I guess, that had the fingerless gloved hands. That Ultimate Rider's Punisher, Maggot, but his hands are blue and much larger. I don't know that these may work for Punisher, not 100% sure on that, but probably one of the ones I'm looking forward to the least out of this wave. You'll need him. You'll have to pick him up if you want to complete the Build-A-Figure. This is absolutely going to be a peg warmer, no question about it, but it is one we've never received before. So the completist in me, my interest is peaked. And just rounding out characters from the Xavier school or the Jean Grey school, I guess in more modern times. I'm all for all of these C-D-listers and just really getting together a good offering of characters from the X books. Up next, we have Corsair, who was another first in the life of the Marvel Legends line. He's packed in with the right arm to complete the Ch'od Build-A-Figure. One of the gems in this wave, he is on a newly introduced Vulcan buck, which is perfect for the Summers family members. I think we'll get plenty of Cyclops figures, Havoc, Corsair, Vulcan, all on this buck. It's a perfect buck. We're going to knock out 2 members of the Starjammers in this one wave. Corsair here and the Build-A-Figure Ch'od. He's packed in with a couple of interchangeable hands, red gloved hands, something that is somewhat prevalent in the Marvel Legends line, so you will be able to swap other hands from other characters, utilize his hands with maybe Captain America or Deadpool. Be nice to get that pointing finger from Captain America, but considering that these are red gloved hands and something that they've done prior, it would have made sense to just give us an additional set of interchangeable hands in here. Come on, he's the leader of the crew. That pointing finger could go a long way. Jazz hands, how much more could it cost to just pack in an additional set of hands with any one of these figures? He's got his sword and his little musket. I don't expect there to be much detail on either one of those accessories, but we do at least have some accessories here with Corsair. I would have loved to see another interchangeable head, angry or smiling. Why do we need the tassels on his headband to be windswept like that? Go the distance. Give us something that is completely neutral and relaxed and something that is dynamic so that way we can display with it and just have more options for displaying in general. We've heard from the team time and time again that if they start to include more accessories, then they'll have to raise the price again. I don't know. I think that's bullshit. I think it's bogus. I think on the corporate level, we are being price gouged and a lot of people are being priced out. And where does it end? Still, Corsair is definitely one of the ones that I'm looking forward to the most in this wave. Finally, another first timer in the life of the Marvel Legends line, Chamber, another member of the Generation X squad. You can actually utilize him in this sort of plain deco with the Generation X squad in their uniform similar to that of Monet, but he has also been pictured in a less casual costume to kind of match the rest of the team. He's got a set of interchangeable hands, just plain white flesh hands, so you know we have plenty of options for that. At the very least, we can utilize hands from previous figures for him. Super unique head sculpt. You're not going to be able to swap anything else on. I'm wondering what the range of motion is going to be like on this head sculpt. Pretty much know what we in for as far as the body, all parts for the most part that we've seen before, but Chamber can make for some interesting displays. I'm looking forward to this one, at least taking taking pictures, photographing them, setting up different scenarios. So I honestly think this is a solid wave overall, but I want to talk about the Build-A-Figure. But real quick, let's talk about the final figure in the wave that does not come with the Build-A-Figure part, and that's Astonishing X-Men Cyclops. Again, utilizing the Vulcan buck. He looks phenomenal. I see some people concerned about the optic blast sort of smoke effect on the side of his visor there. I'm hoping that that is removable. I'm hoping that you'll be able to actually utilize the optic blast effect from the retro carded X-Factor Cyclops. We don't have an interchangeable head with him. However, we have had some great sort of unmasked head sculpts that may be able to swap on here that should work. So based on past offerings, you may really be able to do some nice things with this particular Cyclops. I'm hoping that we can use that blast effect, because being as though he didn't have a Build-A-Figure part, you think they would include some of these additional things like an interchangeable unmasked head sculpt. But again, I'm eager and I'm very happy to be on the road to completing one of my favorite X-Men teams of all time in the Astonishing X-Men crew from Josh Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men. Something that I continuously recommend as a read. And just bouncing back, talking about Emma, I think they did a good job with this head sculpt, I'm telling you. But yeah, we do get a couple interchangeable hands with Cyclops. The sculpted bits as far as the gauntlets was a nice touch on this figure. This is probably the one that's going to be very hard to find at retail, even though he's probably 2 per case. But this is the guy that's going to be highly sought after. So that brings me to the Build-A-Figure. Now, I spoke yesterday about the fact that I would have liked to see them do something totally new for Ch'od, but really sleeping on it, sitting with it. The Abomination Buck Build-A-Figure is actually perfect for Ch'od and not perfect for Abomination. We knew that he was very small for Abomination from the very beginning, but the details that they missed here were the fact that he didn't have the sort of heel toe on the back of his foot, no fins on the back of his calves, no fins on the back of his arms. Those fins should have been included, and they should have been a different color. His lips could have been a different color to kind of go with the classic look for this guy. He's also got 5 fingers instead of just 4. There's no paint on the fingernails or the toenails. It's just a very lazy reuse. Like I said, it's the right reuse as far as the buck. I'm with that. But all of these little extra details that are missing is just unacceptable to me as a brand new, or what's supposed to be a brand new Build-A-Figure in 2023. We should be beyond this at this particular point. Go the distance, go the extra mile, and give us all of the details to make these figures comic accurate. Who's doing the research? Who's looking up the looks for these characters to make sure that they are accurate? I think it's unacceptable to miss any details on these things at $25.99 a pop. Still, again, I do think this is a solid wave overall, but considering how in the past the X-Men waves have been some of the very best, I think they lost the beat here. They lost a step here. But let's talk about it. What are you guys thinking about this wave? What did I miss? What are you hoping to see? What type of swaps are you hoping to do? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell down there. And until next time, peace.
I'm in the game, I'm grinding, I got to play 24 hours in a day, 7 days out the week, I never sleep. I'm on my grizzly bear, 52 weeks out the year.